It's Cricbuzz Chatter, Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan at the end of a fantastic test match at Southampton between England and the West Indies. The visitors victorious by 4 wickets. Vaughanie, any test match that's alive at 5 p.m. on the final day is one that you tend to remember. And after England looked like they were going to run through the Windies, who were chasing 200 before lunch, 3 quick wickets, Jofra Archer bowling complete heat. It was Jermaine Blackwood who, Vaughanie, he felt like the man least likely the other day, but he's the man who did the job.
Yeah, great maturity. I think it surprised us all in the ground. We expected Blackwood to come out there trying to hit all the balls into the stand for 6, try and create a bit of momentum. At 27 for 3, it looked like the game was lost for the West Indies, but his defence, his maturity, his running between the wickets, he had a little bit of fortune, a couple of chances went down, but I don't think many in the ground, there's not many anyway, but I think many around the world watching, I don't think they'd have thought that Blackwood could play that kind of innings. So great for the young fella in the West Indies side to play that kind of role. I thought Roston Chase played a great hand as well. It was a very, very impressive run chase.
Yeah, Roston Chase, that partnership either side of the tea break. And then Shane Dowrich, who of course a few years ago in this country could barely make a run. Very important runs in the first innings. Again, a 68-run partnership with Blackwood. Just when it was teetering on the edge, they lose that wicket at 100 runs exactly, so halfway through the chase. Dowrich walks in and he plays a very mature hand.
Yeah, and he got a pepper in from Jofra Archer. That was Jofra Archer back to what we saw him at Lord's last year against Australia, and that Steve Smith duel. It was wonderful test match cricket. One of the reasons why England went with Jofra Archer this week is because of that kind of spell on a pitch that wasn't offering a great deal, and all of a sudden he cranked it up. Wonderful test match cricket. The West Indies, I just take my hat off to them for the fact that they've arrived here in the UK, to come into this bio bubble. Obviously COVID-19 is a major threat to many. Well, the West Indies have got on a plane, they've been locked in Manchester, now locked in at Southampton, and they've produced some great disciplined test match cricket. The best team has won over the course of the 5 days. We've got 2 matches to go. They go home now, they go to their home venue, Manchester. That's where they've been based over the last couple of weeks, practicing, playing some warm-up games. So it's going to take a tall ask from the England side to come back from this, because this West Indies test match team under the leadership of Jason Holder, they look like they're onto something.
Just their second win in England for 20 years. And Jason Holder, after play, actually credited yesterday as the most enjoyable day he's had in Test cricket, because they fought it out. And that marries up with what we talked about yesterday, Vaughanie. Someone like Shannon Gabriel, who looked like he was in a fair bit of strife, but comes back for that final spell. He wasn't even in the original squad, injured, takes 9 wickets, player of the match, just outstanding.
Yeah, it was high class, and that's where England lost the Test match. Right, I think in the first innings, 204. Should have got 260, 275. That would have helped them out. But yesterday, they're strolling the game, 3 wickets down. Crawley and Ben Stokes had put on 98. You're looking around the West Indies side and you think, what have you got? The second new ball had just been targeted, been hit to all parts. And then the collapse, the batting collapse from the England Test match team, it's common. It's not something new. It's not something we haven't seen before. When they're under pressure, the first innings with the ball wobbling around, the technical, mental side of the game just didn't come to fore. Yesterday, when all of a sudden Gabriel's flying in and bowling rockets and trying to hit the furniture, and he did on a few occasions, because it's something in this England Test match batting lineup that has it in them to have a collapse. I don't know what it is. It's only they can put it right for Manchester on Thursday, but I think we always look from behind the curtains when all of a sudden England lose a wicket and then another wicket. I think many of us who've followed the England team for the last few years, we don't get surprised when a collapse happens, because it's been quite a common trend over the course of the last few summers.
Blackwood's now been involved in 3 successful run chases against England, and look, his innings could have come to a close earlier on the basis of England's fielding, but instead of touching on that, I want to talk about the Rory Burns chance, which wasn't even a chance. Stokes was over the line, as he was later with the Dowrich dismissal, which was overturned subsequently. We had one with Jofra Archer early in the Test match. Vaughanie, we've got the technology to fix this. They used it at the Women's World Cup this year. They trialled it 4 years ago, and yet somehow we're still working under this dilapidated system where central umpires are meant to call the front line when frankly they're just not watching, and fair enough too.
Yeah, things happen so quickly down at the business end. I'd hate to be an umpire first and foremost, but to think you've got to look down and then look up to try and get the business end of the decision right. I think it is time that potentially we should follow the suit of what happened in the Women's T20 World Cup. Too many runs are missed, and that's the issue. So many no balls are being bowled, and too many runs should be going to the team that's batting, and that's something that the game has to have a look at.
In terms of going in the hot spot, Vaughanie, Into the hot spot, Ben Stokes has had his week as captain. Joe Root, of course, will come back and wear the armband in Manchester on Thursday. How did he go across the week, and specifically today with that tactical side of the operation? Held himself back quite late in the final session, didn't give Dom Bess a bowl. How did you evaluate that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll find out pretty quickly what it's like to be an England captain, because there'll be millions of people there questioning whether you should have batted first, Stuart Broad should have played. I thought he gave a great interview after play. I thought he was dead honest. He doesn't regret any of his decisions, because you can't turn right what maybe have been wrong a few days ago. Tactically, I think one thing that he could have looked at just after lunch, when he had 150 runs to play with, I thought he spread the field a little bit too soon, and it allowed that partnership of Blackwell and Chase just to get going. I think he could have just squeezed that little bit longer. Overall, though, it looks to me like he enjoyed it. Tactically, I thought he did some good things. Ultimately, his batting unit didn't come out and play well enough for him, and he didn't. He got in twice he got to the 40s, and twice he made a couple of errors against Jason Holder. If he'd have gone on and got 100 yesterday, England would have got something out of this test match. The same could be said of Zach Crawley. I know he's a young player, played fantastic, and that's a positive for England. If he'd have got 150, England would have got something out of this test match. So I guess a lot of focus will be on Ben and his captaincy, because he's such a superstar in the UK. A lot of focus will be on the omission of Stuart Broad. I personally just look at the England batting lineup. If they'd have batted to potential and batted to anything like they should have done this week, England would have got something out of this test match.
When we go to Manchester and we press fast forward, of course, Joe Root will be there, England's best batsman. He'll take over the captaincy. But, Vaughan, you've been in this situation before where you've lost the first test of a series as captain or as a leadership group. How do you get it back on track in just 3 days?
Well, Joe Root arrives tomorrow and said, "What were you lot doing over those 5 days? I wasn't there." No, look, he'll have a team chat. I don't think he'll say a great deal. He'll probably highlight a few of the good things that happened here in Southampton, but ultimately it starts afresh on Thursday morning. One thing's for sure is if England are asked to bat in gloomy conditions, or are asked to field and then bat in the second innings when the ball's just maybe turning or bouncing a little bit, they'll have to bat a lot better than they have done this week. Having Joe Root, the batsman, back is probably a lot more important than actually Joe Root, the captain. I think they need that rock solid, high-class number 4 batsman, because we looked at the batting lineup this week, very inexperienced top 4. Understandably they're going to be under pressure. Players are fighting for their careers. Having Joe Root, the batsman, back will help the team. And in closing, congratulations to the ECB and the West Indies Cricket Board for getting this show on the road. No mean feat after the last few months. Of course, now we're on the road. Michael, you're on the road to Manchester for the next test match. It starts on Thursday, and of course, we'll be back as well on Cricbuzz Chatter with Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan. Until then, go well.